Hello guys, what's going on? So today is about the React context hook. So in terms of hooks, we have covered use state and use effects. So today we will use the use context API, and so this is the same solution I have pushed on GitHub repo. So what we will do is in the concepts folder we will going to create in concepts we already have hooks folder. So let's inside this hooks folder let's create a file. Mm, let's say use context view.js. All right, so in this use context file what we will going to do is import react from react like this, and function return. So this will be like this. This is use context hook. And the name of the function will be use context view. Right, and let's export default use context view like this. And let me just quickly import this use context view in my app.js file where the all other example are imported already from slash components sorry concept slash hooks slash we have use context view like this. So we will use context view here, and if we can see the web view we are having, this is use context hook. All right, so before going further let me just explain a bit that what is use context and why we need that. So in terms of its importance, we can say that let's assume that we have a dashboard, and in dashboard we have a list of users which are our employees, and each employee has his own record. So if we design this in terms of components, this system in terms of components, then we have a dashboard component. Inside dashboard we have user list component, and inside the list component we have user list item component. So from dashboard we need to send data in the props to the employee list item view, so that each item display the properties of that user. So it's three level of level of hierarchy in this system. So as the system grows, this complexity get increase to very high level. So to resolve this issue of passing data, we are using third-party libraries like Redux, where we have a store maintaining states, and we set state from one view, and we can get that state or update that state from any other view in the down in the hierarchy of views, hierarchy of components, we can say. So to get rid of these third-party libraries, we have a solution of context, which is, we can say, the React context. And with the hooks, what is provided, that we have concept of consumer and provider in React context. So in the provider section, we provide that context, and down we get that context from any level and can use that context very easily. So to demonstrate this, let us create a context here so that we can pass that context to that view, and that view can be easily use the data in that context. So we are actually replacing the redux purpose using that React context feature. So let me create a quick one, export const, and what we can say, that user context is equal to react dot create context, and inside that let's initialize this with the empty object. We can pass null here as well, we can pass complete object here as well. So let us pass the empty object for now, and we also exported that context as well, so that this context is available throughout the application, so that we can just import it and use it. So we are setting that context, creating that context here, and for the setting point of view, we will set it right here in the provider. So what we can say is user context dot provider. So by the name of that context variable, we are available the provider property, and we will set it with a value. So in terms of value, this is an object, so we will give an object like this here, and we will close that context provider, and we will move that provider under here like this. All right, so let me just quickly recap what we have done, and our view is still showing this is context hook, right? So let me quickly recap. We have created a context with initialize with an empty object, and also we exported that context right away, and uh, with the name of that context we have available the provider. So whatever name you have given, you will use here down, wrapping up your views. You want that context to be available within those views. So what you will do the your context dot provider, and you will initialize your context with values. You can also give empty here, but the point here is we want to share data down in the view hierarchy. So to test that, we need to give data here so that we can access inside this component this data. So we just wrap our component with the provider through this context, and what will going to happen is our user context will be available inside that view. So let's just get that user context here. So what we will do is we will import user context, and we will be importing that user context like this, and from let's just import it from app like this, and if we can verify, so it's pointing the right variable. So what we will do is const user context is equal to, so the hook that is provided for the context is use context. There is another different story that what was the option before that hook. We need to write consumer here, so instead of writing the whole consumer, we have a pretty nice hook available which is use context, which will grab our context from here and will available and will give us its reference here. So we'll use context, and inside that context we will provide the user context like this, and let's put debugger here so that we can see what is the value inside that context. Okay, so you can see we have the debugger, the control is stopped here. If we can view the value, it's saying 1 2 3 4 5 6. All right, so this is the same value we have passed from the parent view. We have set in the parent, and we are getting that in the child of that view. So the same way we can use for getting the value inside any child component at any level very easily. So let's just change the initial value from, let me just change the variable name as well. Let's say page title is equal to my title, right? Oops, like this. Okay, so what will be available, let me just continue this and let me refresh this. You can see we have a property page title which is my title. So this is how simply you can pass the data from parent component using the use context provider to the child component, and inside that child component we can use the use context hook to get that data inside that view. So further we can just display that data as we are doing in React. So use context dot, what was the value was page title. All right, sorry, that was the user context, right, like this. Let me just, okay, you can see here now this is my title. So we are passing the data from parent to the child using use context hook. So that's it for the hooks. That is very basic example. I will try to demonstrate the whole hook thing in terms of complete project example very soon. So till then, happy coding, bye bye.